Exodus 8.
For 7 days, the Nile remained a river of blood. The once life-giving waters were now undrinkable, and the stench of death filled the air. Dead fish lay bloated on the surface, and Pharaoh's people were in distress, digging wells along the riverbanks in search of fresh water. The Egyptian priests, in their golden robes, murmured prayers to their gods, but the heavens remained silent. Moses and Aaron entered Pharaoh's palace, the golden pillars towering above them. The Egyptian ruler's face was unreadable as Moses spoke God's command.
Moses and Aaron stood firm, their eyes reflecting both sorrow and divine purpose. Pharaoh, however, sat rigid on his throne, unmoved by the suffering of his people.
Then the voice of the Lord came to Moses. "Go to Pharaoh and say, 'Let my people go, so they may serve me. If you refuse, I will plague your land with frogs.'" Pharaoh scoffed, "Your God plays tricks, but my magicians can do the same." He waved his hand dismissively. Aaron raised his staff. The ground trembled. The once quiet Nile began to churn violently, and from its depths, thousands, no millions, of frogs emerged. They leaped onto the land, covering everything in sight. The invasion was swift. Frogs flooded the streets, homes, and temples. They filled cooking pots, slept in royal beds, and leaped upon the golden statues of Egyptian gods. Farmers swatted at them in vain, and the once proud soldiers of Pharaoh could only watch in horror. Yet, Pharaoh's magicians also summoned frogs. Though they added to the chaos, they could not remove them. Pharaoh, growing weary, sent for Moses and Aaron. "Take them away, and I will let your people go," Pharaoh declared, sweat glistening on his brow. Moses nodded. "Tell me when, and it shall be done." "Tomorrow," Pharaoh muttered. Moses lifted his hands, praying to the Lord. As dawn broke, the frogs began to die. Their slimy corpses piled up in mounds, filling the streets with an unbearable stench. Servants shoveled them away, but the air remained thick with rot. Pharaoh took a deep breath. The frogs were gone. Relief settled over his people. Then his expression hardened once more. A sunrise over Egypt with heaps of dead frogs rotting in the streets. Servants in fine linen struggle to clean up the mess, covering their noses. Pharaoh, standing on his palace balcony, gazes at the destruction below, his face dark with defiance. Moses and Aaron, standing outside the palace gates, exchange a knowing glance, for they understand. More plagues will come. This chapter highlights the beginning of Egypt's suffering due to Pharaoh's stubbornness. Despite witnessing God's power firsthand, he continues to resist, leading to further plagues. The story sets the stage for greater signs and wonders, reinforcing the theme that divine will of God cannot be opposed without consequence. Thanks for watching.